lot of students, they see the best kid in their school and they ask them, oh, where do you go tutoring? Yeah. And they go, oh, I go to this place. And then once you go there, you realize that, hey, wait a minute, am I stupid? Like, why can't I understand? Why can't I improve as much? Why am I not at the top now that I've joined this program? Mm-hmm. Well, it's because some people spent double the amount of time that you did and still didn't do as well as you did. You could still do all these extracurriculars, but still not really fall off. And then maybe some of your friends are like, Kevin, how can you do this good? But like, you're out there, you're like at school some days, you're like taking photos, you're running these events. How's that possible? Because you relied on us at ProEd to. There's always going to be kids that are always disciplined, always do their work every single week. And those students are a pleasure to teach, right? But the tutoring centers and the teachers, a lot of the credit can't go to them in those scenarios. I argue that the kid that's coming first in the majority of the schools, they can go to any tutoring center and they'll be able to thrive. But the ones that aren't first, there's something that's missing. There's a missing ingredient. The first thing I would like to talk about today is understand the importance of having the right mentors and the right guidance. Okay. Although, yeah, a lot of kids, they smart, some of them have certain character traits, they might be stubborn and they want to do it themselves and they want to figure it out themselves, which is all great, kudos to them, right? But I feel like a lot of the times you are putting yourself in a situation where you are spending more time than you actually need, especially if you're a smart kid. If you can have the right mentor and guidance and the right program, you might be able to double or triple the amount of output you have because your reaction time is so fast. Now, granted, I understand that not everyone has access to good mentors and good teachers, but I feel like actively searching for someone that kind of fits where you're at and can take you to the next level is crucial. And at different stages of your study career, your self-building career, you could graduate from one mentor and move on to the next.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example to start off.
Yeah.
When you're starting to play a sport at the beginning, the person that's probably coaching is just some enthusiast, right? So let's say, for example, I'm a 10, 11-year-old kid starting basketball for the first time. The coaches that are teaching 10 and 11-year-olds are most likely, they're not professionals as in like accredited or they have a license to teach professional basketball or anything. They're most likely going to just be some enthusiast, right?
Yeah.
That if they're going to get paid minimum wage, might as well do something that's fun and interactive, right?
Okay.
But eventually you're going to get to a point where everything that person teaches you is either too slow or you already know everything, right? So then maybe like dribble between the legs or knowing how to set up your body for defense or having the right mechanics for doing a shot or something simple like that, right? Or doing a layup.
Yeah.
But eventually it gets to a point where every kid has learned everything and there's nothing more to teach, right? But then are you in the NBA? No, you're not. You might not even be in the top league in your local competition. So what are you going to need to do? You're going to need to find better mentors that are going to take you to the next stage, right? Maybe it's because you are physically not strong enough to be able to go there. So you're going to go and get a personal trainer or something, or go to a training class and then build your body up. And now that you're more athletic and you have more explosiveness, right? Then you can start working on, certain reads, certain actions, practice certain moves. Yeah. So at different stages, you'll have different coaches. And once you get to the NBA level, the coach that was teaching you in primary school is probably not going to be able to give you the right advice to be able to defend and play against Kobe Bryant and LeBron James. Do you agree?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's important for people to understand that you are constantly need to be searching for ways to get to where you want to be faster. There's only so much you can do by watching videos and reading articles online.
Yeah.
You're going to need to get the professional at that stage of your life to give you the right advice to get you from 0 to 10 as fast as possible. And then once you've exhausted their ability to get you any further, you get someone else that can get you from 10 to 20. And then you can get someone else to get you from 20 to 40, and so on and so forth, right? So the reason why I say this is a lot of students, and you might understand this, they see the best kid in their school, and they ask them, oh, where do you go tutoring, or who's teaching you?
Yeah.
And they go, oh, I go to this place. Or maybe they don't even tell them, and then they just see off the corner of their eye what work they're doing. And they're like, Mum and Dad, I think we should go here. Or Mum and Dad finds out for you because their family friend told them, and then you need to go there. And then once you go there, you realize that, hey, wait a minute, am I stupid? Why can't I understand? Why can't I improve as much? Why am I not at the top now that I've you know what I mean, join this program? Well, it's because you're not suitable for that program at that stage of your life. If I'm trying to just learn how to play basketball, I can't get an NBA coach because an NBA coach is going to expect me to already be at a certain level.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
I need to be in physical peak shape. I need to have the highest vertical jump. I need to have the fastest 100-meter dash. I need to have the fastest reaction time. And then through there, they can build, you know what I mean, what it takes to be an NBA player. But someone that's, you know, hasn't touched a basketball before, hasn't ran 100 meters in their life, they're not going to find the best coach. They need someone that's going to get them off the ground first, right?
Yeah.
Like, just do a little bit. Improve on some very basic skills first. And then eventually build to that. So I think it's important for the students to then understand that know what stage of your journey you're on, and you know through the environment, through what the mentor's attitude towards you is, right? Whether that mentor is correct for you, right for you at that moment.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of really important. Also, the importance of having mentors at all. Because a lot of kids, they go, oh, I don't need someone to teach me how to do this stuff. I can do it by myself. I'm smart. I'm capable. I had that mentality when I was young. I remember in year 9, year 10, the content was still easy enough. So my parents just bought me books and I just self-studied it. And it was quite easy to do.
Yeah.
Like you read it, you practice a little bit of it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Mainly algebra-based, more kind of rule-based stuff. So I was able to get quite good ranks when I was in year 9 and 10 without the help. I had tutoring for like a term or something, and then I was like, nah, that's not for me. Like, I'm just sitting there, not really gaining anything. They're not making sense. What makes more sense is me explaining to myself.
Yeah.
So what's the point? In year 11, difficulties started piling on. English was harder. Math was significantly harder. Like, you know the pace. In year 9, year 10, they spoon feed you. They just teach like one topic for the whole term.
Yeah.
And then you get to year 11, it's one topic a week or one topic every 2 weeks. So in one term, you're doing 5 to 10 topics or something ridiculous like that, right?
Yeah.
So the pace picks up exponentially. I think the reason why they do that in Australia, I can't say the same for other countries, is I feel like the amount of workload is on par with the maturity level of the student. So when they're year 7, year 8, they're about to hit puberty. It's all more like interaction, activity-based learning.
Okay.
Again, I'm not talking about selective schools. That's a different story.
Okay.
I'm just saying in general.
Okay.
Then when they get to year 9, year 10, they transitioning through that puberty phase, right? So I think they increase the difficulty a little bit, but not too much because you have other things going on, or hormones are going all over the place. Once you hit year 11, year 12, because you're mature, your brain has developed a lot more now, right? That they expect you to have a better idea or direction as to what path you want to go. That you will pick subjects that you are interested in, right? Because when you're in year 9, year 10, you do science and then they just teach you everything. But then in year 11, year 12, you can pick, oh, I like chemistry more, or I like physics more, or I like bio more, right? You end up picking one that you are more drawn towards. And then because they expect you to be more mature now, that you can manage the workload. And that's why they pick up the pace exponentially. And the entire reliance is on your maturity.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the whole idea is also that the school teachers, the people that are teaching these subjects are going to motivate you, inspire you to be more into it. However, unfortunately, you know this. Getting a good teacher at school is all purely luck.
100%.
Yeah. And the luck is to a point where out of 5 teachers, you might be lucky to have one good one at school.
Might be.
Might be. Yeah. You might have no good teachers in that discipline, right? And the whole thing is you need to rely on those teachers to motivate you, to inspire you, to show you the possibilities so that you can then choose what you're interested in and you can put more time and effort into honing your craft and improving on that. But the issue then is they're not inspired. The good news was, Kevin, I actually zeroed in on it. I spent a lot of time on self-studying maths. I did 3 in a maths, 4 in a maths all by myself. But the problem with that is I sacrificed everything else. And my strategy was like, oh, if I do well enough in maths, it should compensate for the subjects that I don't do well in. And we all know that that's not how the ATAR works, right? Yeah. We all know that now. Like my recommendation to all you guys is that's definitely not how it works. I think if I was to do it again, I would be more persistent. I would try to find the right mentors. And if I knew someone wasn't right, I would just switch, try someone else. Switch, try someone else. Switch, try someone else. Until I get to a point where like, this is perfect for me. This teacher, right, is perfect for me at this stage. And eventually when I go past that stage, I can look for a better teacher or someone that's teaching more advanced stuff, depending on the scenario that I'm in. There's no point to go somewhere where all your friends are going, but it's too easy for you. Or if you go somewhere that all the top kids in your school are going, but it's too difficult for you. You know what I mean? Maybe there's one kid, you know what I mean, that really gains from that situation, that tutoring or that class. And everyone else, they need to search for what's suitable for them. And eventually, maybe when they surpass that, they can come back here, right? But you can't start from somewhere the same as someone else if maybe they're already naturally gifted or they're already at a different level to you, and that's why that tutoring was better for them.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
This is why at ProEd, like, we have all these different classes. We have classes of different levels and different paces, right? It's because we understand that we can't just stick a kid into what we feel like is where they need to be, right?
Yeah.
Like, my opinion doesn't matter. It's where are you at, Kevin? And what an environment can I put you in to get the most out of you? And when I get to a point where I've gotten everything out of you, but you still haven't reached your peak, that's when you can be like, all right, David, like, can you move me to another class? Or I want to, like, now increase my competition, right? I want to improve, I want to level up, isn't it? But it's so important that for the student to build confidence and to be able to do all the things that we talked in the last few episodes, right? That they are learning and they're getting the right guidance that suits them in that moment. I can just imagine the amount of time that we are saving our students right now. Think about this, Kevin. If you had time to do extracurriculars, you could do photography for your school, you could go to cadets, you can go on hikes, you can go on bike rides or whatever, right? Because you relied on us at ProEd to create a program that suits you in that particular moment. If you still wanted to do everything else that you wanted, but still also not fall off on your academics, you need someone to have your back, right?
Yeah.
To be like, hey, Kevin, this is the minimum requirement you have to hit this week so that you don't fail your HSC. And then next week you have to hit this. And then the week after you hit this. And then when you do your actual exam, I remember you actually ranked relatively well. You weren't like first in your school.
No, I wasn't.
But you did get a good rank in the end with relative ease, I think. Because some people spent double the amount of time that you did and still didn't do as well as you did. You could still do all these extracurriculars, right? And all the other things that you wanted to do, but still not really fall off, right? Because you could just come, David, I have an exam in a couple of weeks. I'll be honest with you, I spent a lot of time going to this camp and that camp. Tell me what I need to do, right? To get to this level. And I'll be like, all right, Kevin, you have been slacking off. You haven't been following the homework as strictly as before, right? But now you need to do this. And then you did it, and you did decent, right? And then maybe some of your friends like, Kevin, how can you do this good? But like, you're out there, you're like at school some days, you're like taking photos, you're running these events, you're in the SRC, right? How's that possible? Are you doing cadets? You're waking up at 4 a.m. to do Anzac Day parades and all this kind of stuff, right? How's that possible? Now, obviously, if you strive for more, we would have tweaked the plan, changed the parameters so that we can expose you to even harder stuff at a faster cap, a more challenging cap, right? But that's not what you wanted. This is what I'm saying, right? Imagine like if you just went to the tutoring place that rank 1 in your school went to, right? But you didn't have the foundation, the amount of practice, the amount of hours that person had. And you just joined his class. What do you think is going to happen? They're going to teach super advanced stuff at a super high rate and super high pace. That kid is very happy. He's like, yeah, understand everything. And you're sitting like, what the hell's going on? I don't even know first principles. So my advice, again, is for the students to find the right mentors that can save them time, not waste their time. Because going to tutoring or finding, asking your school teachers the right questions or some sort of study group at school, that might not be right for you. That's important. Just showing up is not good enough, right? Just putting in the time is not good enough. You have to put in the time and make sure that you gain something from it. You have to gain benefit from it. Don't just go because your friends are going. Don't go because rank 1 is going. Go because that is going to be the best program and the right mentorship and the right leadership for you in that moment. I think it's important. So that they can save you time.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? Like half the time that I spent figuring out the formulas in Fortinet, some good teacher that understood where my struggles were could explain to me in 10 minutes. I'll give you a very good example. The reason why I started doing this job in the first place, right, is because my sister was doing HC a couple years later. And I remember she went to tutoring. because she didn't have the discipline, dedication, and interest in math like I did. But it was kind of like a non-negotiable subject that we had to do in our family, right? So she was doing tutoring, and I remember like walking past her one time, and she was like super stressed. I was like, hey, what's going on? And she's like, yeah, I have an exam like next week, and this thing I've been stuck on for 4 weeks. I just don't get it. And I sat down with her, and I explained it to her. And it took about 30 to 40 minutes. And after, I was like, dude, this makes so much sense. And I'll never forget this. She's like, I don't know why it took me 4 weeks to understand this. Because I keep asking the tutor and my teachers about this. And they weren't able to explain it to a way that I understood, that was suitable for my understanding level. They couldn't pinpoint what my question was. And they just assumed that this was my issue. But they didn't care to think what I was going through, you know? And by me asking her the right questions and finding out what level she was at, I was able to explain the concept to her for her to be able to understand it in that specific scenario, right? 30, 40 minutes to explain a concept that she was stuck on for 4 weeks. Can you imagine that? How much more she would have learned if that was the experience on the first 40 minutes instead of 4 weeks and 40 minutes. So that's what really kind of annoyed me and was like, hey, I think this is something that I think I can bring value to. And a lot of students, I feel like in the past, they know you're good, but there's FOMO, there's fear of missing out. They feel like if they don't go to the tutoring place that the rank 1 is going to, that they're missing out on. But like, am I really missing out on LeBron James's one-on-one sessions with his coach? If I can't even touch the rim, right? He's like, do these explosiveness to like, bring the ball back this way so you don't get blocked on the dunk. I'm not even close to dunking. How's that information gonna help me?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying, right? You have to get there to be able for it to work. And also, make sure that the person that's teaching you it is someone that's actually enthusiastic and has put time into studying and perfecting that art or understanding that art to the very least, right? Not someone that's there to collect the paycheck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Working is things that we do in the society, so I'm just gonna cheese my way through this job. Right? Just be here as a person standing in front of the class and make my 2 hours, 3 hours worth of pay. Right?
Yeah.
You got to make sure that you're not in a scenario like that either. So just to summarize that point, finding good mentors allows you to speed up your productivity and allows you to build confidence fast, allows you to see results fast. I think that's really important. Okay? But the results it's not entirely dependent on mentor, on the trainer, on the coach. It's also dependent on how much you're practicing as well. So a lot of the times, the teacher does give you the right advice and teaches the right things, but because you're not practicing and not improving, you can't move on, right? Yeah. But at least like finding the right fit, that's really important, okay? And doing it yourself, you can only get so far because you don't have 24 hours in a day. If you're trying to spend all your time doing math, where's the time going to be for doing English? Where's the time going to be doing for physics, right? If I wasn't stubborn and I kept searching, right? Maybe I was able to find a good physics teacher, a good English teacher, a good math teacher, and then I can triple my output. But instead, I spend all my time doing math. So it's worth it. I think time is more valuable. Yeah.
I think that's something students need to be comfortable with saying. If they go to a tutoring center or if they go to a tutor and it's not working out for them, instead of, being scared that, I don't know, mom or dad wants them to stay there, be like, this is just not working out for me.
Exactly.
There is no point of me coming here, spending my time listening, not getting anything out of it.
Yeah.
Your parents paying money for that thing
Exactly.
as well.
Waste.
Yeah. Find somewhere else to go.
Yeah. Keep trying, especially this day and age.
Yeah.
It's so easy to tutoring places in Sydney or best tutoring places, right? Because sometimes the local tutoring place isn't the best or whatever, right? So do ask your friends. I don't deny that asking your friends about their opinion where they go is important, but this is why it's so important to trial the classes, right? Majority of tutoring places out there, they give you 1 week, 2 week free trial, right? Trial the class, make sure that the teachers there have your best interests in mind, right? That they're teaching you in a way that you understand is what you need. But also you can't be too comfortable, because if you're not getting challenged, you're not going to do well in the exam because you're not pushing yourself. But it can't be a point where you can't keep up and you're having anxiety, you know what I mean? Because a lot of tutoring places, they set such high expectations on you, and they're like, well, the rank 1 can get this question in 2 minutes. Why are you spending 50 minutes? Right? But not everyone is rank 1. That's the whole point. That person's rank 1 for a reason, right? It's because of the amount of hours and practice they already put in. So you can't be judged on that. But at the same time, like, you do need mentors to be like, hey, listen, with your potential, I think you can get to this level. And I don't want you to be comfortable with where you're at right now, right? Because you have so much more potential. You can strive for so much more.
Yeah.
But I don't want to push you there. Let's slowly work our way there. Let's challenge ourselves. There's a famous quote. I can't remember where I read this from. I'm really bad with these names when it comes to that quote. But they're like, comfort is where creativity, progress, innovation, and good work goes to die. That's more or less what the quote was saying.
But yeah, it's true.
It's true,
it's
right?
So true.
If you're just comfortable, you're just not going to be better. You're just going to plateau.
Yeah.
So you have to challenge yourself. If you feel that little bit of exhaustion and that little bit of discomfort, right? That means you're progressing, you're getting better, right?
Yeah.
But it can't be a point where you're just like frustrated, flustered, you have no direction, and you're like can't sleep. Then obviously you're just doing too much. You're going to burn out.
Yeah.
Right. So finding that balance is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was your experience like that? Like, you know what I mean? Like finding the right mentor. I know you end up coming to pro ed, but you would have like tried your fair share of tutoring places and whatnot as well during your time.
I think I'm very lucky that my parents were very flexible about where I went. They initially started off, getting some intel from family friends. Okay, maybe you should try this one. So I'll go, try it out. But I was comfortable with telling them if it wasn't working for me, even maybe like after a term or something. And it started off good, kind of didn't go very well towards the end. I'll ask other friends, I think word of mouth, well, obviously at a selective school, everyone's going to different places. It's pretty easy to find a new place to go.
For sure.
So I would hop around all the time until I found a place that kind of met my needs.
Right, exactly.
And it's something that you kind of have to try. Otherwise, you don't know if a place meets your needs. So, for example, like your first tutoring experience, you go to this place, you kind of feel that it's not for you, but then you still stay there. You're not going to know what this other tutoring center is like. You're not going to know what this other tutoring center is like.
Yeah.
So it's very important to just try them out. Right? As you said, there's free trial classes. Just take advantage of that.
Exactly.
It's there for you to know which one you want to go to, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I was lucky with maths because I landed here and it supported what I needed. For English, I think English is one of those things that it's very personal. You need to find the one for you. So that I had to try a few places.
Okay.
Until I found one that worked for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chem and Phys as well. Chem was okay. Phys had to try it in 2 or 3 other places before I found one for me.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing, right? There's no point in, all my friends are going here. Everyone's saying this is good.
Yeah.
So if I try it and I don't like it, what, do I just like keep eating food that I don't like or keep doing things that I don't want to do?
Exactly.
Right? It doesn't make sense, right? And you end up despising the subject.
Yeah.
Right? You end up hating the subject.
Yeah.
You end up like not wanting to do it. You want to procrastinate. You put it on the back burner. But that's the subject that you needed to do the most.
Yeah.
So you have to find someone that can kind of motivate you, inspire you, build your confidence in that subject matter, and just slowly but surely get exponentially start improving on that, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you may be lucky, and the school teacher is the person. I remember one of our tutors to teach English here. She didn't do English tutoring before. She learned everything from her school teacher. Her school teacher was so committed, so clear, so knowledgeable in the subject matter, right? That she got high band 6 without doing any tutoring. And now she would like to use those strategies and skills, right? And bring them over to pro ed and help the students at pro ed that don't have the fortune of having that teacher teach them, right?
Yeah.
But those teachers, as we've mentioned, they're rare.
Very rare.
Right? Because like a lot of these people, they're capable of much more. They decide to do this job because they feel the bigger purpose is to educate the next generation, right? They could be working on their own ventures or doing their own thing and making a lot of money, right? But they don't feel satisfaction in knowing that they have all this knowledge and there's a lot of people wanting this knowledge, right? And they can't help them. I feel like that's why a lot of the teachers become teachers, or the good ones. They stay as teachers. They're not so fussed about how much money they're making, more so like, I really need to spread the word. You know what I mean? Spread the good news, right? So that more people understand, wait a minute, Math is actually fun. Physics, chem is actually fun. English is actually fun. Rather than, oh, this is another subject that I have to do at school and it's compulsory and oh, I hate it. No one's inspiring me. All the stuff is really hard. I don't get it. Right? And then you go to tutoring and the guy is just monotone and, you know what I mean, not making it fun. And it's like, you have to know this and you don't know it. And you ask them why and they don't say, shut up, you can't ask questions. Right?
Yeah.
It's just not good. So I feel like that is something I feel like students shouldn't be ashamed of admitting that they need help. Right? If the school that you're going right now, none of the teachers are good, maybe you ask your parents, see if you can go into another school, if you have that opportunity. I know it's a luxury sometimes, you can only go to your local school, right? But there's always, if there's a will, there's a way, you know what I mean? Like try to find a way to maybe get into another neighboring school or something, right? And being able to speak with the principal, like, hey, listen, like we're really struggling with this, or maybe come to an agreement or something like that, right? Or if you can afford tutoring and you can find help, like trial all the different classes until you find someone that's like meets your needs. I think understanding like you are the person that's important in that scenario. The tutoring place should not be dictating. The tutoring place shouldn't be bossing you around, right? You should be the one that's your needs need to be met.
You shouldn't fit to
their plans. Exactly. You should need
fit to you.
Correct. They need to fit to your plans. They need to fit to your goals. They need to help you meet your requirements, your goals. Let's say, for example, you are geographically challenged, right? And the good places that you like are a little bit further away. I think it's worth it to make some sort of compromise. Maybe if it's too far to travel during the weekday, maybe plan it out during the weekend. You know what I mean? And see how during the travel time or the downtime that you can like use that to relax or, you know what I mean, meditate, like do some homework or reset or do something else, right? Like just make the best out of it. Like you didn't really live really close to Burwood.
No,
Yeah, exactly. But you made your way out there because you knew that even with the traveling time that you spent and the class time, if you were to do all this by yourself, you would have an insurmountable amount of hours that you might have to sacrifice. Right? So the 1.5 hours of travel time that you have to spend is worth it at the end because that gave you the freedom to do what you wanted to do, right? Because you had teachers and mentors that had your best interest in mind and set up a plan for you that met your needs. And I think that's really important. If you really think about it, rather that than go to a local tutoring center, but you're like just sitting there and be like, oh, what the hell's going on? It's too easy, it's too hard, I don't understand what's going on. Why is this so boring? So
it was worth the effort.
Exactly. And ultimately we saved you time. I think that's the most important thing.
That's true,
Even with the travel time, we would have saved you more time. Because if you think about it, if you didn't come and you kept trying other tutoring places that were closer to you, let's say for example, knowing fully well that Boad Prode was the best for you, right? How much time would you then need to sacrifice before you find another one that's maybe closer that, you know what I mean? Because ultimately, in the long run, you're gonna save time.
I wouldn't say like, it was kind of like a mistake, but it was a good learning experience. When I left pro-ed for unit tutoring, right?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
To go somewhere closer. Where my friends from school were going. Right? Because I was the only one from my school at Boa.
At that time,
And looking back, going to that closer tutoring center actually wasted so much time. I would have rather just stayed at the Burwood and your class doing 4 unit. Which I literally did at the end. I swapped back.
You
and
swapped
I
back,
had to redo the term again.
I remember you were like, oh, this is good, but it's a bit of a travel. I'm already come here once a week for 3 unit. Let me try somewhere closer. All my friends are going there. Maybe they're onto something, right? But the thing is, like, did they give you a trial class or were they like, no pay, no trial or something like that?
I can't remember. Maybe I was just too happy that it was a lot closer.
Right.
And my friends were in the class as well, so we could like, you know, talk a bit.
I remember, because when you came back, you had to start from the beginning again. Because like that one term of content was basically like you did nothing. You learned nothing,
it was literally the biggest waste of time. It worked for like my friends. But for me, it was...
You know what was really funny? Because you remember how you were in Daniel's class, right? You had that one trial lesson. I was like, oh, Kevin's like, he's getting off to a rough start. But he'll get there. And then next week you didn't show up. I remember. And I was like, what happened? And he's like, oh no, I think he's like trialing other places or whatever. And then I forgot about it, right? And then one term later he came back. And I was like, oh, Kevin's back. And then I was like, oh, so you've done one term with the other class, other place. So you're going to continue on to the next topic, right? And you did it. You started from the first topic, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had to reprint you some other stuff.
Yeah.
To make up for the stuff that you didn't learn properly. Yeah. I remember that.
That was tragic.
Yeah.
And it was like the transition between year 11 and year 12.
Yeah.
That time where,
you're not supposed to waste time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the stress of worrying about if I was even going to get into 4 unit.
Yeah.
So once I got the news, I was in 4 unit.
Yeah.
Immediately swapped back to Bowen.
Yeah.
Like I cannot continue
Yeah.
at this place.
I don't know if I told you about this, right? But after you did your trials in year 12, I remember very closely, I think you were like 9th or 10th in the cohort for the trials.
I did pretty good in trials.
Yeah. I was like shocked at how far you came. I was shocked of how far you came. Because I was like, I remember the first time you came, and then when you came back, I was like, oh man, this kid there's a lot of ground to cover. He has a lot of ground to cover. His reaction time is a lot slower than some of the other students. I don't know, you know what I mean? Let's try our best, right? Yeah. But I wasn't shy to make you guys aware of that. I think that's important, you know what I mean? I made it up because some people, they're just too nice. They're like, oh, it's okay, they're there. You'll eventually get there. But time is of the essence sometimes, you know what I mean? So if they're slow, you're gonna be like, hey, listen, you gotta pick it up, right?
I remember we were doing like the basic converting to mod arg form.
Yeah.
I wasn't good with the angle stuff.
Yeah.
Thinking
and you did it for a term already.
Yeah.
Yeah, far out. So I was like, all right, listen, Kevin, I know we're off to a slow start, but hey, listen, we need to get this, you know what I mean? Like, this is something that you can't skip over, you know what I mean? I can't give you don't have the luxury of time to like, you know what I mean, muck around with this. Yeah. And then the thing that really surprised me the most was not only did you compensate for that, you came top 10 in a top 5 school, right? Your school was ranked top 5 that year, I'm pretty sure. And you did less work than some other students.
It was really funny because we had a camp, so the first term of year 12.
Yeah.
And our captain was like, if you're not gonna come to this camp, quit cadets. I didn't quit, but a bunch of my other friends quit. And it was really funny when we got out, and the camp was during buffer week, like the week before all our year 12 first exams.
Okay, right.
We get our exam marks back like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
I remember clearly, I beat one of my friends who deliberately quit to study for that whole week.
Yeah, and it still got worse.
Yeah.
It
was so funny.
Yeah.
But
that's what I'm saying. Like,
he just wasn't being efficient. With his time. That's what I really think. When I came back from camp, I knew I had to zone in.
Yeah.
And I had the right guidance.
Yeah. But also, like, I feel like pride will always like remind you. It will nag you. You know what I mean? Like, hey, listen, Kevin. You need to be here. You need to be here. You need to be here. At this stage, you need to be here. So you always kind of knew, all right, I'm ahead. Oh, I'm behind. Right? There's kids that are able to do this right now. And I'm not trying to compare you to them, but if you want to get this amount of success, you're going to have to get this amount of, you know what I mean? And we've taught so many kids in the past and we know their journey. We understand the blueprint, you know what I mean? And we understand how ahead and how behind and on top of things all the students are at different stages on the timeline, right? For us to kind of nag you, you know what I mean? To be like, hey, listen, there's no way you can like delay this any longer. It's now or never. Yeah. So I think that's really important. Like, obviously, there's always going to be kids that are always disciplined, always do their work every single week. And those students are a pleasure to teach, right? But I feel like the tutoring centers and the teachers, a lot of the credit can't go to them in those scenarios, right? It's because like they're very disciplined, they catch on really well. I argue that the kid that's coming first in the majority of the schools, they can go to any tutoring center and they'll be able to thrive in any environment. But the ones that aren't first, there's something that's missing. There's a missing ingredient, right? And you have to find the mentor that kind of fills that void. And you might have a lot of voids. And obviously sometimes like you need their inspiration to kind of motivate you to do work as well. Yeah, because a lot of the tutors' mentality is like, well, if you don't do work, why should I try harder?
Yeah.
Right? But that's like wrong. Then you got into this job for the wrong reasons, right? You're here to inspire, to help kids, not to like judge them for, well, serves you right for not showing up to class that week, or serves you right for not doing homework, right? Every time like some students come and find us, we will always be like, all right, okay, so you stuffed up a little bit. All right, well, what can we do in this situation, right? Yeah. And we keep telling you, okay, we're going to adjust and change the blueprint. Now the blueprint is harder because you've You've missed the stuff, but it's still possible. We just got to put in more work, this much more work now. Or, man, you're really ahead. You can now slow down, calm down. You can maybe focus more on your other subjects now, right?
Yeah.
There needs to be that gauge, and someone needs to know, you know what I mean, to be able to tell you. Someone that's experienced that can tell you.